Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, Fantasy Champs? I had to slide over here for a second. Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. My name's Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always.
What's going on?
What's poppin', Ricardo? How's it hanging?
I'm just chilling. Bro, just chilling. What about you?
Nothing much. Getting ready for Thursday Night Football.
You're actually going to watch it this week?
We have been consistently posting, by the way, our Stars and Sit shows on Friday and our Trade Targets shows on Saturday. So that is probably the schedule we're going to stick with the rest of the season.
At this rate.
At this rate. But anyway, what did you say about the Pats game? Sorry.
Oh, I said you're actually going to watch this Thursday Night Football this week.
I've watched it every week offhand. Was it Ravens Miami last week? I watched that.
Offhand?
Yo, I put it on my iPad off to the side.
Oh, okay. So you don't really watch games. You just kind of keep track
here's the big thing about Thursday nights, right? I watch football on Monday Night Football. I can't do the Monday Night Crew and I want to kill myself, but
yeah. I watched the Manning-cast, bro.
Well, it's only on some of the time, so
even the Manning-cast though can kind of be.
Oh, it gets dry. It does get dry.
It gets yeah.
It was It was good at first, but it's still 1,000,000 times better than broadcast. The only guy on the Monday Night Football crew that is good is Louis Riddick, and even he's kind
of. I do like Louis Riddick.
He's fine. It's the two white guys in the booth that they need to expunge.
The play-by-play is bad at football, but for some reason I do like him when he does hockey. I wish they just kind of made him do hockey.
He does
only.
Hockey?
Yeah.
So get him on football and just stick him in hockey.
Yeah, that's what they should do. But
they were like, we don't have anyone left.
Yeah, they don't have anyone left.
What the?
It used to be. Who's on NBC now?
They need to go and which is funny because there's no way that NBC and CBS pay more money than ESPN can afford for a Monday Night Football crew.
Well, like it's crazy to me that is it Mike Tirico? Is that his name?
Yeah. No.
Mike. Whatever.
Mike Tirico is not the play-by-play, right?
No, who's on NBC?
Oh yeah, it's Mike Tirico.
Yeah. So what I don't get is he went from Monday Night Football to NBC, but he only calls the Sunday night games like twice a year when Al Michaels isn't there.
Doesn't he do the halftime desk?
Yeah. But he's supposed to take over for Al Michaels. But it's been like 3 years.
Grooming.
Yeah, but like when
is Al Michaels going?
It makes sense. Yeah, eventually, but it's already been like 2 years since he's been with NBC.
You know,
and
sad
they still
part,
haven't done it.
I don't even notice when it's Mike Tirico over like. I don't think I've. What is that? Is that Sunday Night Football or Thursday Night Football?
Yeah,
Sunday night. Football. Oh, so you're gonna, geez, Tirico. I don't know if I would want that. You're gonna Collinsworth slide over.
He's done a couple games this year. It's still mostly Al Michaels, but I think he's done like 2 or 3.
Huh. Well, either way, I'm surprised that they can't get anyone decent for Monday Night Football. It's better than Booger. I'll say that. They've made improvements. Yeah. But I still have to listen to that fat frick talk at halftime.
I don't get why Tirico just didn't stay at Monday Night Football until Al Michaels retires, and then you could go.
Yeah, because that's like now he's going to be rusty. Is that a thing?
Right.
Can you get rusty at commentating?
But like Tirico,
you know how hard that is, by the way. Radio broadcast too. That's even harder.
But it's hard.
You know how long it took me to figure out when somebody says from left to right on your radio what the frick that meant? I was like, what are you talking about? Left to right on the radio. Is that something that happens on other broadcasts? Because the New England.
I have no idea. I have no clue. It's still confusing me. But what I was going to say was Tirico and Louis Riddick would be fine for Monday night. If it was just those two, and then you can throw
Oh,
in,
that would be
like,
killer. Yeah, great. Well,
Yes.
the other problem is they do have. I don't know why they have 3 guys, and Riddick doesn't talk that much. The other color commentator that is like second in the booth,
talks more.
he talks way more, and he doesn't shut up. And it's like, let Riddick say something for once. Like, holy crap, they're just terrible. And you disagree with this because you like the nostalgia of it all, but I can't. A Monday Night Football on ESPN needs to be chopped. See you later. If you want not Boomer Esiason. What the heck's his name? The guy who does the halftime in 60 seconds. I mean.
Oh, it could go all the way.
Yeah, I know. What the hell is his name?
I don't know.
Boomer. Boom.
We'll call him Boomer.
But that's what they call Boomer Esiason, so I'm not. That's not even close to right.
Chris
Berman.
Berman. Yeah. Berman.
Hire him for another network. Just rip off the Monday Night Football thing.
You don't want ESPN to have Monday Night Football? What if ESPN just starts fresh? The problem is ESPN as a whole blows now.
Yeah, they're terrible.
So if they start fresh, it would actually probably be worse.
They started getting political, and that's when everything went downhill.
I just haven't watched it.
They also had thrived. They thrived on like SportsCenter.
Yeah,
and everything shifted to the streaming platforms, and now they don't. They don't do that at all. But either way,
it'd be kind of funny. Stephen A. Smith in the booth.
See, entertainment. That's what you're going for. If I had to listen to 4 hours of freaking what's his name talking, Stephen A. Smith, I would be. A lot of people don't like him, and they don't like his takes. You cannot like his takes, but that would be hella entertaining. That or Snoop Dogg.
Well, now you're just getting extreme. I mean, that would be really entertaining too, but the average fan would hate that.
Snoop Dogg.
Well, actually,
did you see that video of Snoop Dogg calling a hockey game?
Hardly. I've seen him call some Olympic events, and
it was hilarious.
Horse racing. He's like, the horse is doing a crip walk. Oh my god, the horse is crip walking.
No. We get to watch him at halftime, at least in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But anyway. So yes, the big thing, the long story that this goes into is Monday Night Football. I watch, even if it's just the Manning cast or whatever, and I usually I have it on mute or whatever. But I'll watch that game like right after Sunday because it's usually fantasy implications. I for some reason never have Thursday night. I've had one Thursday night player this year, and I don't know why. I can't figure it out. It's
who's
very
on your
strange.
team?
I don't know.
Is it just bad?
I don't.
Bad
Jalen Hurts, did he play on Thursday night? I believe I had him on Thursday night. Maybe not.
Have the Vikings not played on Thursday night?
Vikings have not played on Thursday night.
They will. Every team has to. So
I just can't. I feel like I never. DJ Moore played on Thursday night. I remember he was there. I think I have had a couple of guys, but either way. I can't watch every single I can watch every single football game, but Sundays are sucked up by it, and then Monday night I watch it, and by Thursday my wife is ready to just kill me because of all I've been doing is football. So I try to just watch.
Yeah, I don't have a wife, so I mean I don't got no problems with that.
Yeah. Anyway, 9 minutes into our show, what are we talking about today? Starts and sits for Week 11. Okay, we're gonna go through a bunch of different matchups this week, bunch of different players, guys we think you should start, guys we think you should sit, and then we'll jump into trade targets tomorrow, obviously. Before we do that, check our website, fantasyjammies.com. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Somebody told me the other day that I do this way too fast, and it's because I really, really think our intros are too long. This 9-minute debacle that we have here.
Yeah.
That's not even an intro.
We're actually just going to do the whole show.
That was just us talking, conversing with each other about football problems, basic football. If you want a show just on that, we can do that.
We could.
No plan, just us talking about crap.
Hey, just for you to kill me even more this week, Nick Chubb is trending in the right direction to play.
So. All right. Let's go. But anyway, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, any other podcast platforms, leave a review, share this pod with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, and comment down below what you want to, any questions you have. Start 6 questions. You still haven't said nothing, so whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
So let's jump into our starts and sits. Rick was referencing me and Rick in the home league are going off, and I'm in, what am I, 6-4?
Are you 6-4?
I believe I'm 6-4. Yes.
I'm not surprised I'm surprised that you're not better. Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Although you just got Nick Chubs. So
I had Swift before. He's top 5.
I wouldn't say top 5.
That's where his numbers are.
Is he really?
Yeah. I looked at that and I was like, oh my God, what the freak happened?
I think Chubb when there. Well, it's
healthy. Yeah. Right now, Fantasy Pros,
he's RB13.
The Fantasy Pros rest of season rankings at the running back position. Nick Chubb is 6.
Yeah.
And Dalvin Cook is 3. Kill me. You think I could trade Dalvin Cook for Jonathan Taylor?
Actually, you probably could. Would you do that though?
I don't know.
I mean, the way Taylor's been playing, he's probably right there.
Yeah. Either way. So I got Nick Chubb for DeAndre Swift. Swift is RB9 right now, ranked rest of the season. So either way. So we're going to jump into our starts and sits for the week. And let's start with the quarterbacks. Rick, why don't you start us off with the quarterback start of the week?
Okay, quarterback start of the week. We got Ryan Tannehill. No, I think Tannehill is another guy. Like Tannehill and Joe Burrow are the two guys that are on the show the most. Tannehill's obviously had a very up and down season.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his last 4 weeks, he's been okay. Yeah. 21. Oh, I'm looking at our home league. Change the stats. I literally do this sometimes, but you do it every week. So either way, one of us ends up doing this every week. Since week 6 or week 7, I should say, he said 20, 23, 15, 18. So that's still not good.
Yeah.
He really hasn't been super inconsistent this year, which is weird because last year he was consistently very solid. He has Houston, though, this week, who has obviously struggled all year, struggled against quarterbacks, struggled on defense in general, struggled as a team in general. But their defense is obviously not very good.
They don't look now. But Mac Jones has better stats than Ryan Tannehill. Except for the rushing touchdown. Do you take the rushing touchdown?
Yeah. I mean, the rushing is... Yeah, Tannehill has been kind of crap this year, not even going to lie. Yeah. I don't know why. He's kind of reverted back to his self from
They
Miami.
Called Adam Gase and said, how did you treat this guy? We want to know.
Yeah. But he should be in line for a good week against Houston. And even though he's been inconsistent this year, he still has had some good games, especially against the Colts for some reason. 2 really good games against the Colts. He had a good one against the Chiefs. I think he'll have another good one this week against Houston. It should be a bounce back week for him. And maybe AJ Brown?
I would hope so. For my sake. Not for your sake, because...
Yeah, not for... Well, I mean, I have him in 2 other leagues, so I really don't care.
He's like, I'm in...
At this point, I care about those leagues more.
Do you care about winning this game against me? Because usually our game is like... the game that me and Rick play in the home league is usually pretty hotly contested. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of... we have a...
I'll give it 1% just because I'm playing you.
We have a big rivalry, and the last 2 years we both have sucked. Well, I mean, I'm better this year. I thought I was going downhill midway through the season, but anyway, I was 4-4 at one point. But Rick has been bad the last 2 years, so it makes the rivalry non-existent. This is like the Patriots when the Jets were good, and you just blow out the Jets, and it felt really good. But when they suck, it's not the same.
Right.
It's nice to beat them, but it's not the same. So either way, I don't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah, you were saying we were talking about Tannehill.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. so Ryan Tannehill this week, good start. He has been inconsistent this year, but if you need that streaming option, you're questioning whether or not to start. For me, I like to look at the start quarterback of the week because there's 7 to 9 quarterbacks that I would start on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. So this is a situation where usually our start quarterback of the week is a guy who you're going to have to make a decision over one other guy. So it's like if you're looking at Ryan Tannehill or another player who's of the equivalent value that you got off the waiver wire, this is the guy that we think you should start. We're not telling you to start him if you have him on your bench over like, Lamar Jackson. Like that would be stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, Houston's given up 21 fantasy points per game through 10 weeks now. Ranks 5th in point and easiest matchup according to Fantasy Pros. So Ryan Tannehill is going to be he's an interesting player, and I think he's going to have a decent week this week. He'll probably get somewhere between 18 and 21 fantasy points in a four touchdown league. The only concern I have is that they just blow the doors off Houston in the first 10 minutes, and then everything goes downhill from there. I'm starting, beginning of the season, I'm like, fantasy points are fantasy points. Guys are just going to score. It's going to be great. And then you get to the halfway point in the season or the late point in the season, and you start thinking about things a little bit differently. Like if a team starts blowing out another team and how you're not going to score fantasy points if there's a blowout happening.
Yep.
It's so annoying, but either way.
It is annoying.
Start Ryan Tannehill. Our sit quarterback of the week quickly, because we're already over time at this point. Is Carson Wentz against Buffalo, and we talked about Carson Wentz possibly being a pickup this week, and not a play. I believe we made it clear not to play Carson Wentz on the waiver wire show, but we're gonna say it again. Buffalo has been one of the toughest defenses against quarterbacks this year. They don't let up a lot of fantasy points. This is a game Indianapolis has to win, so maybe, they raise the level of play and Carson Wentz has an okay game, but I think against tougher matchups for which he hasn't had a lot of, but the two tough matchups that he's had on the season so far, he had 17 against Seattle and he had 7 against Jacksonville. And I don't know why Jacksonville is a tough matchup for quarterbacks.
Seattle and Jacksonville?
Jacksonville.
Aren't those
Jacksonville's
two easy matchups?
You would think, but they're not giving up a lot of fantasy points to the quarterback position for whatever reason. So
that's weird.
I don't know if it's because they're blowing them out early, but yeah, Carson Wentz did not have a good game. This is the toughest game he's going to have probably on the season defensively, outside of the New England game in Week 15. So I would sit him this week, call it a day, and leave him out of your lineup.
Yeah, Wentz was probably a good pickup for you a few weeks ago if you picked him up after that Ravens game. He's at 17, 20, 20, 24. Then Jacksonville, he probably burned you last week for 7. You're like, well, I can't do that 2 weeks in a row. Still don't start him against Buffalo. Buffalo has been fantastic all year against quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I really don't think there's been a quarterback that's had a great game against Buffalo all year. Not that I know of. So this is an easy one. Don't start Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Let's move to the running back position and the start of the week at running back, which is Myles Gaskin.
Myles Trash Can.
Could go either way this week. So in games with easy matchups, and I guess I'll call that top 10 easiest matchups. Okay, we'll say that. He's had 12, 10, 17, and 14. The rest of the bad matchups have been atrocious. He's going up against the Jets this week.
Except one random game where he scored 27 against the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I'm looking at a PPR league, and I'm like, holy frick, where'd that 31 come
from? Yeah.
Yeah, so against the New York Jets, I would imagine that he has between an 8 to 12 point game, especially if he gets that, rushing share. And the interesting thing is over the last couple weeks, he has been getting 60 or more % of the snap percentage on the season. So he has 15 rushing attempts, 12 rushing attempts, 20 rushing attempts, 14 rushing attempts, and has been getting pass catching work that has led him to 15 or more touches a week for the last 4 weeks. So I think against the Jets, if he gets that touch total, the easy matchup, and all that extra stuff, he'll end up having a good week this week against the New York Jets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to tell you to start Myles Trash Can every week. Unfortunately, I do in the home league because I really have no choice.
Yeah, right.
Even though someone did offer me a trade for him the other day, and I almost took it, even though I hated the player that I was getting back. That's just how much I hate Myles Gaskin. But against the Jets this week, it's a good matchup. Jets really do blow. Malcolm Brown, as of right now, is still out, which is, I think, the reason why Myles Gaskin has had the snap percentage he's had, which shouldn't change anything, but for some reason it does because they like Malcolm Brown is 2 yards per carry. But yeah, he's still out, so Myles Gaskin's really the main running back on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, against the Jets, he should do well.
Yeah. I'm scared because, you never know with Myles Gaskin.
Yeah, he could easily lay like a 3-point week this week.
Yeah.
Lay an egg.
I hope not. But either way, let's talk about the running back sit of the week. Is Alex Collins against Arizona. And Arizona has been really, really good so far this year against running backs. They've given up, I believe, they're the 5th toughest matchup against running backs. They have 15 points a game that they've given up to the running back position a week. So that's the position as a whole. And you have a guy coming in this week, Alex Collins, who really, he's been kind of up and down. Has he been getting the same, what's it called, opportunity on a week-to-week basis?
It's a little less last 2 weeks. I think with his problem is he's been not involved in the passing game at all. He has 3 targets in his last 4 weeks, which is like nothing. So he's pretty much purely reliant on the run game. And he's only getting, last 2 weeks at least, he's only gotten 10 carries. So 41 yards on 10 carries isn't awful, but it's not going to do anything for you fantasy-wise. Yeah.
I he's only had, he had 2 games this season where he had a 60% or more snap percentage, even after he took over the job from Chris Carson after he got hurt. And so Rick's right. The big thing for him has been pass catching target share, but over the last 2 weeks, he's only had 10 rushing attempts, and that's kind of where around Penny came back. So, we talk about that 15 points a game being given up to the running back position on the season. If Penny takes half of that, it's going to end up being like a 5 to 7 point game.
Oh, this past week, Penny I think was a healthy scratch.
Oh, was he really? So who's the other guy? Do they just really rush it 10 times a game?
I don't know. I didn't watch the Packers. Yeah, they really did. Travis Homer, who was the only other running back with a carry, and he had a 2-yard rush.
Yeah, if all the snaps and all the fantasy points of the running back position go to Alex Collins, then he might have 15 points. But anyway, it's a tough matchup against Arizona, and I think that you should probably sit him this week. Let's talk about the wide receiver start of the week, which is Devonta Smith versus New Orleans. Now, Rick roasted me early in the show.
I didn't roast you necessarily.
It was a roast. Well, it wasn't a roast. There was only 2 of us here, so I guess it doesn't count. But he said, last week we didn't tell you to start A.J. Brown, but A.J. Brown only got 2 points.
Didn't we say to start Julio and then he didn't play?
Yeah, frick us.
This is the problem when you make the show early in the week, though.
Yeah. Well, I see it's not even that early. It's like Thursday. Thanks, Tennessee.
No,
but either way, the New Orleans Saints defense has been really interesting this year. They've been tough against the run, but not against the pass. And they've given up 28.5 points per game to the wide receiver position as a whole, which ranks 2nd in the league in points given up to the wide receiver, fantasy points given up to the wide receiver position. Devonta Smith, clearly the wide receiver 1 for the Eagles. I'm trying to pull his numbers up here. And the interesting thing for Devonta Smith, I don't remember if we're talking about him tomorrow or not, but I believe we talked about him last week.
Might have.
But either way, I believe we talked about him last week. Devonta Smith has a really easy schedule down the stretch of the year. And so, and he hasn't been getting a massive target share, but the last 2 weeks he has 22 points per game. 22 full PPR points in the last 2 games. So if he comes in this week and gets 7 to 10 targets, I feel really good about that against New Orleans. And I think he'll end up having a really good week, regardless of whether he's, getting shadowed by, was it Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah.
So I like to start this week when you have and if you give up 28.5 fantasy points a game to the wide receiver position to a team that really just has one wide receiver, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. It does, but Lattimore has shut down top receiving options all year.
Yeah.
Like this past week, AJ Brown did nothing, and it was Marcus Johnson. Have you ever heard of Marcus Johnson before?
I don't know.
Number 88 on the Titans.
Nope, never heard of him.
Yeah, he ended up having 5 catches for 100 yards.
Is that the guy everyone was like, waiver start?
I don't even know. I thought that was Josh Reynolds, and they dropped him or waived him, cut him, whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's the only thing that concerns me. The Saints, though, numbers-wise, have given up a lot of points to wide receivers, so we'll see how it goes. And he's been playing well. I do like Devonta Smith as a player. Mm-hmm. I think because Jamar Chase has been so good, mm-hmm. that Smith has been quietly under the radar.
Yeah, no,
for a rookie, has had a very solid season. So yeah, against the Saints, it should be a good matchup. I'm just concerned. That's all.
Makes sense. It's a good cornerback that he's going to have on him, but they give up a lot of fantasy points to that position.
Yeah, do you trust the numbers?
I trust all of the numbers. Would you say I'm a numbers guy or a film guy?
You're probably a numbers guy.
Okay. Because I think there are numbers guys who are just out of this world and driving crazy.
Yeah.
Well, he has a completion percentage of 59.2 points in the last week and a quarter. Okay, why don't you relax with your statistics, guy? But either way,
sometimes it's too much.
Start Devonta Smith. Wide receiver Christian Kirk is our sit at the wide receiver position. He's actually been pretty good this year, and in fact, against tough matchups in the last couple of weeks, he's been in a tougher spot. He's actually performed relatively well, but there's a chance Kyler doesn't play this week, that they're going to hold him out through the bye. I think he does. If we have to guess, Kyler's probably going to play, but yeah, there's also a chance that he doesn't. So take that with a grain of salt. Seattle has been decent against the wide receiver position, giving up around 22 fantasy points a game to the wide receiver position. So 6 points less than the top one. So they've been like middle of the road. But I think the way that the Arizona Cardinals offense has been trending the last couple weeks, especially if Kyler doesn't play, I don't like Christian Kirk as a start this week. I think it's going to be a tougher matchup for him. And we'll see what happens, but I would sit him.
I would expect Kyler to play just because it's been 2 weeks and it felt like it was only a 1 week injury in the first place. It seems like he's been practicing all week, should play, but DeAndre Hopkins might also come back this week. The last few weeks, Christian Kirk has been the wide receiver 1 on the team, so that's why he's been decent. But if Hopkins comes back, I think he's going to go back to being inconsistent, where he could still have big weeks, obviously, but he's not going to. I don't expect him to get a lot of targets and be the main focus in the offense. Obviously, if DeAndre Hopkins plays, he will. So that's going to take some targets away from Christian Kirk, who I think is already inconsistent. And against the Seahawks, who I guess have been decent against wide receivers this year, it's so weird to me that I don't know where that came from. But another defense that just confuses me. But yeah, they've been decent against wide receivers. So with all that in mind, I wouldn't start Christian Kirk this week.
And quickly with the tight end position, because there's really no analytics that I feel like you can provide to say. Say a guy's going to be good or not on a week-to-week basis, because I just can't project it at this point. But Dawson Knocks, you could saddle him up. He hasn't had a touchdown in a couple weeks, and I think he's due. He only had 1 target this week.
Yeah, this report that I'm seeing says he was still banged up.
Yeah.
And they were kind of trying to ease him into it.
Okay. He had 84% snap percentage, though, so that's...
He did, but...
Maybe they weren't
when
giving
it comes
him
to like
notes.
the passing game, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But no, I think for Dawson Knocks, this game against Indianapolis, obviously an easier matchup for him. I think it should be an interesting play. And at this point, if you have Dawson Knocks as your tight end, you don't have any other options. So just roll with it.
Yeah, unless the other tight end's Dalton Schultz.
Go ahead, take it away, kid.
Yeah, you were right about Schultz. He blows chunks, and I want nothing to do with him.
Thank you. Thanks, boss. I appreciate you coming around to the fact. On this show, we'll admit when we're wrong.
Oh, by the way, Kyler Murray believes he's close and is a good sign and might play this week. What does that report say?
I just read that same report.
Should play.
It was like a tweet.
Yeah.
Did it say he should play this week?
No, that was something else.
Yeah, that's what I thought. No, it said
he's close in practice.
It said the second half said that the coaching staff might keep him out for a week to go through the bye.
Of course.
But no, Dalton Schultz absolutely sucks eggs.
Yeah.
He was getting, I'll give you that. He was getting a really like good target share, but I just knew for me, I feel like Dallas wasn't going to continue doing that. They have too many weapons offensively to continue throwing to their fourth weapon. I don't understand why they were throwing it to Dalton Schultz so much, or any tight end really, because Jarwin was getting a lot of target share as well. It's really confusing. But either way, now they're getting the wide receivers involved more often. In the last couple weeks, he's seen a drop off in targets. This might look like an easier matchup against the Kansas City, but I just sit him. Rick sounds like he wants to cut him.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with him.
See you later. So anyway, there are your starts and sits for Week 11. Interesting group of starts and sits. Hopefully some of them work out for you. If they don't, you can hate mail us in the comments. It'll be fun. But tomorrow, we got trade targets. See you tomorrow, guys.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.